are listening to an Atomic Broadcasting production, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation. And remember, do your part, such as like, comment, rate, and don't forget to tell a friend to tune in for an Atomic Time.
Now, where did we leave off? Ah, yes. After taking time to process their emotions, the party met back at the Troll Forge entrance. Uvaer apologized for his behavior, but announced his intention to leave for the Grungir forest to search for his missing memories, with or without his companions.
So this one time. So after I left the college that we all went to.
It's true.
Where we coincidentally
That
met.
was.
Yeah.
the college that
for the first
we all
time.
went to.
I ended up going to a convention with a really good friend of mine. Shout out to them if they listen. I doubt they do because I don't think they listen to podcasts. But join us. It was really fun. I think it was in Tokyo and Tulsa. We ended up going. We stayed at one of their friends' house. We didn't feel comfortable in the friend's house for a lot of various reasons. So we ended up staying up like all night. And then the next morning, we went to a McDonald's. And I wanted coffee. And at that time, I didn't drink a lot of coffee. But I wanted coffee because I was like, if I'm doing the con, I need coffee.
I'm interested.
Confi.
Confy.
You had me at coffee.
And I asked the dude, I was like, hey, I know it's a long shot, but the dude at the front counter was like, do you have any like French vanilla creamer? Because at that time, that was the only creamer I could use to drink coffee. This is when I was really just getting into coffee. It's different now, Abby. Don't give me that look. Now I barely use creamer.
That's not why I'm giving you that look.
Oh, is it because French vanilla sucks? Why are you giving me that look?
No. Just continue.
Okay.
Baby drinker.
Yeah.
Don't drink babies.
But they're delicious.
Okay.
Baby oil, baby powder.
Oh.
Sorry, sometimes I let my inner thought just come out. But this guy, this dude getting paid minimum wage in a McDonald's, looked at me and said, "We don't, but I got you, boss." And like he came out with a cup, like a tiny little McDonald's cup, put like 2 cups of creamer in it, added a little bit of sugar and some vanilla extract where I don't even know where he got that. Mixed it together and handed it to me, and it was perfect. It was like he went above and beyond. That dude was amazing, and I think about him consistently.
Shout out to that guy.
So the reason I was giving you the look is you literally could have asked for a French vanilla latte.
I don't think they had those at the time.
Yeah, they did.
They did? I didn't see it on their menu. I feel so betrayed.
You could have asked for a French vanilla latte, and McDonald's being McDonald's, it's more sugar than it is coffee.
Oh, that's not.
So that's why I was giving you that look.
I was really tired. I needed just coffee.
So I don't know anything about coffee, but that was the sentence. That was it.
I don't know anything about coffee. Also, I recently learned that a chai latte is just chai with tea with milk.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless you ask for a dirty chai.
Latte means
Milk. I know. I didn't know that.
Chai is chai.
I knew that. Chai is
chai
tea.
latte, chai milk.
I knew that, but
Tea milk.
It's tea milk.
I feel like anyone around here, at least according to my wife, whenever she gets a chai latte at a coffee shop, puts coffee in it.
If you ask for a dirty chai.
She doesn't, but she's like, this doesn't taste like tea.
So the uneducated pleb that I was over here, I was like, wow, they don't even steam the milk? They just pour milk right into your chai tea? And then you said there's no coffee. And I'm like, why would you put coffee in your chai tea?
Yeah, sorry. Latte is a specific kind of milk. It's not just milk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty good. You should try it.
Oh.
Now
Sorry,
I'm
guys.
dying
So,
internally
fun
for
fact,
another reason.
for those of you that don't know,
9 out of 10.
chai is just tea.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah.
it means tea.
No,
So chai
yeah.
tea is TT.
That's what I've been
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So they just said.
Is there a
A lot of people
specific
don't know
word
that.
for that? Like a word that defines itself?
There is. I don't know what it is, but America has a lot of it.
Well,
Jordy.
no,
Redundancy.
chai is just another language.
No, but America does that constantly. Like,
Oh,
there are
yeah.
like, you can find things where it's like, this is Lake.
Ah, yes. An autological word.
Yeah.
Autological.
Autological.
That makes
Axolotl?
sense.
Axolotl!
Those are animals.
Yes, they are.
And they go. Blip. They don't have vocal cords, so they make sounds by making bubbles.
That's adorable.
Speaking of autological, beginning is the first word of this episode.
Oh.
You have it all written out?
Well, that makes it autological because it was the beginning.
Little
of the
known
episode.
fact, we script all of these. It's
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
It's fully
hard to
We're,
do.
we are already going to have to fight allegations of that. Don't make it worse.
I thought
We
you
have
were gonna
already
say
fought
Alexander.
alligators.
We're gonna have to fight alligators over these allegations.
Who thinks
Stop
that
it.
we would write
Named
all of this?
Alexander.
This is too ridiculous.
I honestly thought you were going to say we're going to have to fight Alexander. And I'm like, who's Alexander?
Alexander Hamilton.
He's great.
Anyway,
Beginning.
Beginning. So this episode, we're going to be doing a few vignettes because people tell me I overuse that word.
Thought it was pronounced vignetti.
Welcome to the first
no, that's
vignette.
vinaigrette.
A vinaigrette vignette.
Sorry for the folks at home. We're still very nervous about what happened last
Yeah,
session.
we're trying to
I'm still
actively
super
stall.
stressed.
We're going to start off right around where we left off, right at the end of the last episode. As Val has handed the cracked prosthetic arm to Uvaer and is starting to guide Neros into the forge, Pilgrim reaches out and he puts out a hand to stop them and is like, I'm going to be needing the forge space to start working on the arm. And he puts his other hand on Uvaer's back and is like, would you like to come and assist me, Mr. Dwarf?
Certainly, Pilgrim. Do we need this?
Yes, please bring it for sizing. We can make a cast. And as the two of them begin walking off into the forge, that leaves the remaining 4 members of the party alone in the front room.
Zephyr is still standing there, staring at the exact same spot that Uvaer was in, with his jaw wide open.
I'm gonna mage hand close his jaw.
I didn't know any of that was going to happen. So, I said I'd follow Uvaer in there. I know you probably didn't hear me. I'm very conflicted right now.
I didn't know either, but we do have to go to the forest eventually. So
You don't have to be forced to like he's trying to do this.
I needed a job. I need something to do.
we're doing something.
I need someone to tell me the job to do that I can finish.
What happened to what you just said to me? All about making your own decisions.
That was my
And-
decision.
Your decision's just to sit back and let him make decisions.
It's okay if I ask them to do it.
It's true. I've done that before.
I promise I want to stay with you all. I don't want to leave without you.
I don't know if I can follow him right now.
What else would you do?
I don't know. Last time I trusted people, it didn't go well.
So I'm aware. I am sorry.
I'm gonna go outside.
I sit down. Same spot.
I think Alred's going to follow Val.
Same.
This is on like a hillside, kind of cliffside, right?
Oh, yeah. There's actually... So you're inside a cave that's been dug out of the side of the mountains, looking down into the valley. So you've got a gorgeous view out in front of you.
Val's gonna step up to the cliff's edge and kick a rock off the cliff.
Clatter, clatter, clatter. A bird flutters off into the sky.
I don't want to make excuses for him, but I'm sure he doesn't think of it as forcing us to do anything. He doesn't realize it's if we let him go, he dies. And
I mean, I don't know if he'll die necessarily.
There's a good chance that he could.
not to mention all of the stories of the forest and all the fae that exist there.
Well, he is choosing to do it. We just argued about all the same stuff. About the controlling. And he came to supposedly apologize and...
He's old, but he's not bright sometimes.
I just don't know if I can keep putting up with that. I've already tried to run from it. But I've met all of you, and I love you all so much, and I feel like last time when I made a decision and I trusted people and it didn't go well, and now for some reason Cornelius decided to grab a group, which he's never done before, and it seems like it's fallen apart again, and I might just get hurt again.
I mean, that's always a possibility, but you can't judge everyone off of a few people. I don't know what happened in your past, and I'm not trying to say it wasn't useful information, but...
I know. I'm generally pretty trusting. I mean, I trusted those kobolds, and
yeah,
that went well, and...
Thankfully.
What's this, you said you made him a promise?
He is a man that is consistently haunted by the fact that he doesn't know anything about himself. Or at least he thinks he doesn't. And I was trying to reassure him that he doesn't need to, and if he were to lose his memory again, I would be there to help jog it. But I had no idea that he was going to leave. He said he had to talk with someone, but I had assumed it was somebody in town.
Right.
I'm sort of honor-bound and a lot of other reasons to keep my word, even if it's not written. It's still a verbal contract. But I don't think going to the Grungir Forest is the best idea. I mean, I know we have to, but that place is terrifying.
It's all so fast. Everything's happening so intensely today. I just don't know if I can trust what's happening and trust him with the way he just handled this stuff. I don't know if that's the direction for Ozma has for me.
I can't really speak for Uvaer or Zephyr or Neros, but I know for one that I would prefer if we all stuck together. It's weird having so many people who aren't trying to stab you in the back and climb up the corporate ladder.
Oh. Company stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can try to talk to him again, see if he'll prolong it but he's very stubborn. Much like your father is also... I don't mean to bring that up, but it's parallels.
Right. I'm thinking about him a lot right now.
I'm sorry that you have to.
He gives all of us an ultimatum. And I don't want to live with that guilt of, if we don't go, are we sending him to his death?
It's not our fault if he goes off and
I
dies.
know, it's not our fault. It's just...
It's his choice.
And
this is our choice.
It makes me so angry that he's put us in this situation.
I agree.
And again, I'm not defending him, but I doubt he sees that as such. He most likely just thinks that him leaving will lift a burden.
It won't.
I know that.
He's the closest thing I have to figuring out who my family is. And in a way, I feel obligated to protect that. Because if he dies, that ends the closest link I have to them.
Well, there is still the other option. That thing that came to speak with you, we could try and speak to it. The thing you said you thought was a psychopomp.
Oh!
I've been studying up on them.
Corvus?
Yeah, I've been studying up on things like that in my doctrinal reading lately. I'm studying a lot of that, and we might be able to figure something out there.
I don't mean to interject. You had a psychopomp?
It possibly a psychopomp. I don't exactly know what it was. If that's what it was, it's not like a traditional psychopomp either. It's a little strange. It's got like like bat fingers. It was weird.
It is weird.
It was larger than a regular psychopomp.
And Sigurd and I are connected to Pharasma somehow. We have leads and potentialities here without him. But I understand and will stand by you if you want to protect that.
I don't want to leave him to die because I don't like to be the thing that is responsible for something else dying.
I don't either.
I don't. It bothers me.
But sometimes we don't get to control these sort of things, and sometimes it's in the gods' hands.
Yeah.
Giving your choices to deities kind of falls under the same thing of not making choices.
I've come across several things in my life, being a champion and a servant of Shellen and Pharasma, where I've seen their guiding hands at work, and I know there's not much one can say to make you double think a promise you made with someone, but I'd be wary of a similar situation happening to you again, and you still not having any chance to make a decision in the matter.
I don't want to act on instinct or impulse is all.
Well, we have the night, we have the day to think about things.
Neros is going to walk off by herself.
Like into the forest? Down the cliff?
Just somewhere off by herself.
Okay. Don't go far enough to where we can't hear you, I suppose.
And she just waves a hand like, yeah.
I was going to just sit at the cliff edge, tossing pebbles.
Alward's too scared to sit at the cliff edge, but he's going to toss pebbles from behind you.
And with that, we're going to cut back inside, and we are going to see Pilgrim and Uvaer as they're walking into the forge proper. Pilgrim has taken the damaged prosthetic arm from Uvaer and is kind of examining it as he's walking into the room. And he gestures to Uvaer to come closer as he's standing over by the lava forge area. I'm going to need a bit of assistance if I'm going to finish this in time for you all to leave tomorrow. I won't be able to make it as nicely as I would like, but I can make something serviceable for the meantime.
I would be happy to help you, Pilgrim. I don't know how much assistance I could give. My skills are, even though I am a dwarf, are less in smithing and more in magic.
It won't be too difficult. You'll be my apprentice for the day. He pats you on the back.
Listen, I am happy to learn from someone such as you, Pilgrim.
He gestures to the misshapen, beaten mass of metal, which is now cooled and hardened from earlier in the morning. And he says, "Now, fetch a pair of tongs and go ahead and heat it back up. We'll use this."
Of course.
And the two of you work together mostly in silence, I would imagine, as Uvaer has a lot on his mind, and Pilgrim doesn't seem to be saying much except for, instructions like go ahead and heat it back up and stuff like that. He has you going back and forth between heating the metal and taking it over to the anvil as he beats on it with that hammer that you found in the room that Val had handed back to him. And the metal is very quickly taking on a recognizable shape, kind of in the form of an arm. A lot faster than you might expect, but as you'd mentioned before, you don't have a lot of experience forging. And as it's starting to take on that shape of an arm, he kind of just pauses for a second and he's like, sometimes if you know what needs to be done, you don't really need to know how you got where you are. And he takes the tongs from you and picks up the arm-shaped piece of metal, dips it into the ice-cold water from the waterfall, and as it's tempering and the steam is hissing out, pulls it back out and says, "Just a few minutes ago, this was a misshapen lump of metal, but it doesn't remember that now, does it? It's quite serviceable. Something to be there for people who need it." And he puts it in your hands. "The choice is yours, Uvaer. But just remember, it is your choice which direction you go."
Pilgrim is too good for this world.
He must be protected.
He must be protected at all costs.
And with that, we find ourselves back in the entry room again. Zephyr is still sitting on the floor where he first stood and heard that Uvaer planned to leave.
So for the longest time, Zephyr just sits there, staring into the darkness as he does a lot. But then he notices Cornelius. He's still in the room. What is Cornelius doing?
Cornelius he's got like a book that he's holding in front of him, and he's like rapidly like scribbling something, and then he'll stop and flip a few pages back and look at something else, and then he'll pull out a scroll from his never-ending pouch in his cloak and look at it and put it back in. He seems to be furiously like maybe calculating something by the looks of it.
I get up slowly and just start walking towards Cornelius, kind of seeing what he's doing, hopefully not to disturb him. Cornelius.
What? He shuts the book and tucks it back into his cloak. Yes, what can I do for you?
What were you working on there?
Just planning. You know me. I'm a planner. Gotta have plans for whatever might happen.
I see. Maybe you can shed some light on what might happen depending on which path I take.
You're talking about going with the dwarf or going with Val?
I figure you probably heard all that.
I was right here.
Well, what do you think? I mean, you've been with Val for I don't know how long. I figure you're probably sticking with her.
Well, of course.
Do you see any merit in choosing one or the other? Of course, being a third party such as me.
Well, I am very biased. I want to get that up front.
Yes. Everyone else is so hot-headed around here.
He looks around the room. I'd say you and I are the only two level-headed ones around here. And he gives you one giant blink, or is it a wink? You're not sure. Because he only has one eye.
So I will give you I know I was in the other room when I did this, but I got confirmation from Uvaer that he had something he wanted to do, and he wanted to follow it through, which obviously you heard when he walked out of the room. I need that kind of guidance, and he is the only one here that is offering it. I feel like we're jumping between thing to thing, just mindlessly moving whatever seems the most appropriate at the time, and that does not feel structured enough for me. I need it written out, spelled out. Not that I would want to read it, but I need it lined out in front of me. I need chops. And with that understanding, even with your bias, what do you think?
He kind of looks at you kind of with like an appraising stare and is like, I can give you a list of people who really ought to die. Those would be stepping stones to making sure the Mad King never rises. But I have a feeling you already have that list.
I need something a little bit more direct. Like you give me one, and that is the plan. Not here's a country that you need to siege. I don't know words very well, I'm sorry.
Well, are you looking for optimizing time or effort or expense?
I need structure. I'm looking to optimize structure.
So you want somebody to tell you, this is the next boss, go fight that one.
Not boss necessarily, but I don't know. I feel like nobody's made a decision. This isn't the conversation I wanted to have. I was just laying that out to you in hopes that would help level the playing field at this decision.
He's kind of nodding thoughtfully, just kind of fidgeting with something inside his cloak.
I just need to know who you think that I'm really struggling here. What are you fiddling with?
Just my book. And he pulls it back out. He's like, it helps me think. Would you like to hold it? You look like you need help thinking.
I don't touch such things, so sorry.
I forgot you were allergic to reading.
I can see that you obviously are skirting around the question at hand. But maybe you can help me out a little bit more. I have spoken to Val many times, one-on-one. I'm not the very best at conversations that have anything to do with heart to heart.
Listen. If you have feelings for her, you should tell her yourself.
No. I do have a mental list of questions that might help me understand her a little bit more, and I thought maybe you could also help. And well, I don't know. I don't know a lot about you either.
This sounds suspiciously like you're getting reconnaissance for asking her out, but what are your questions?
So my first question that I have, did you make her arm?
No, we just picked that up in some town somewhere.
Oh. Right, it was Trov that gave...
Yes, that's right. That's where we got it.
Trov's mansion. You know, now that I think about it, he does go through a lot of prosthetics. We did have a history with Hamir, of course. Did you happen to know him? I don't remember if...
We never really got acquainted.
Do you know anything about him?
I know a little. I've spoken with Val and with Trov a little bit on the subject of Hamir.
So she mentioned that you and her and another person. I don't actually think she said what happened to the other person, but he's no longer with us. Were attacked by members of a cult of
Uvaer?
No, not Uvaer. No, I don't think there's a cult following for him yet. You know what I'm talking about. You were there.
The cult of Urgathoa.
Yes, that one. She said that, well, her arm was obviously taken by a ghoul or something.
Yes.
She said that you had something taken as well, but you got it back later on. And I was very curious as to what that was.
Yes, it's a bit sensitive. I don't like to talk about it.
Was it your eye?
No, I have that.
Well, yes, but I said you got it back.
Well, most times eyes are removed. They don't really function well when they're put back. Yeah, yeah, that's really uncomfortable for me.
Okay, I understand. Although this one might be even more uncomfortable. Do you know anything about that cult besides being, bad?
Well, as far as I know, they're gone now. We reported their position to the guards, and they haven't been seen since.
What about her arm? Like, was it completely eaten, or
that hasn't been seen since either?
Maybe I'm just too distraught to understand anything at this point. So let me get this straight. You're with me going with Val, right?
Zephyr, make a perception check.
Crap, 27.
You can tell all of the little jokes he's making and stuff, he's trying to just defuse the conversation. Like, he can tell you're taking this seriously, and he does not want you taking this seriously. He's uncomfortable about the fact that you're asking him questions. Of course, yes, I support Val 100%, and I think anyone who stands behind her and helps her accomplish her task is doing the right thing.
Okay, but I want you to know personally that I do stand behind her. I really need structure, and I feel like we've gone completely off the rails. Like this whole Forge thing, it was fine until we got here, and then I felt like it was one thing after another, just miscommunication and damage, and I mean, she almost died. Were you aware of that?
Well, it's happened before. Not her dying, but her coming close, and she's always turned things around before.
Well, she did do that.
Let me put it this way. Val is the best hope this world has for continuing the way it is.
You are very persuasive without actually saying anything.
I told you, I'm very opinionated and biased.
I don't know. Why are you
Very
looking at me?
interesting, Sam.
I think I have a decision to make, and I think you've helped me make that decision. You can go back to doing whatever alchemy you were doing.
Thank you. And he pulls out his book and starts writing again.
It wasn't really alchemy, was it?
How did you know?
That was out of character.
Like you don't know.
Zephyr walks away and towards the forge.
So as you enter, that'll be right around at the end of the conversation we heard earlier with Pilgrim and Uvaer. So there's the core like foundational structure of the prosthetic arm. It kind of starts looking like an arm right now, but it's not anything usable yet.
So Zephyr does walk in, and what is Uvaer specifically doing at this point?
At this moment, he is just Pilgrim has just placed the core, the blank of the prosthetic arm in Uvaer's hands, and he's just holding it at the moment.
Zephyr kind of walks up and does this kind of looks like he's pulling a gun from his hip and like points at him. Watch out, he's armed. Sorry, I needed to break the ice.
Just I can imagine Uvaer and Pilgrim. This very rather serious moment. And just what?
Uvaer. Hi. I feel like it's been some time since we last spoke.
It's okay, Zephyr. If you wish to stay with him, I will not stop you.
I do wish to stay with them. This is very hard for me. I don't cancel jobs.
Zephyr, we are friends. And the oath that you made was made without knowing all the details. It would be unfair of me to hold you to such a promise.
I don't want you to go. I know that was your plan. And I know that you've made this decision, but I cannot follow you, but I cannot stop following you with the idea that you may be putting yourself in danger that I know we will get to. I know we will, but
Zephyr,
we all need to be there.
I may not know much about my past, but I have not always been with the party. I am not reckless, or in fact, I think I've been more reckless being with the party.
And he chuckles, thinking back to a helmet situation.
And that's a good thing.
But I don't plan on dying, Zephyr. I don't plan on this being a permanent goodbye either.
But if you leave, it might be. I will leave you to your forging. But I want you to know that even though I may not be following you, we will be behind you.
Uvaer walks forward and just grasps your shoulder and leans down because your shoulder is shorter.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
I slowly walk out.
As Uvaer and Pilgrim are continuing on forging the basis of this prosthetic arm, we see a small red-scaled figure standing on the metal catwalk over the top of the forge, a backpack strapped on her back. She's just looking down, nods, and scampers off into the darkness.
We're never going to see her again.
I hope we do.
I'm
I
never
would be
see
very
her
sad if
again.
we never see her again.
We're gonna be battling the final boss.
It's been a long
She's
day.
gonna jump in.
She's gonna get the final
deal
blow.
The final blow.
Later that day, after an hour or so, maybe 2 hours of forging, the basis of the prosthetic arm is complete, and Pilgrim no longer really needs the assistance of Uvaer, and he encourages him to just go off and have some time to himself to think and pack bags and whatever else he needs to do. But he thanks you for your help.
After like an hour or so of seeing Uvaer leave the forge, Howard's going to go like find him to see what he's up to and to maybe have a little chat.
He wouldn't be around people.
You want to be in the chest room?
No, he's actually on that catwalk up top, I'd say. Missing Ruby by that much.
Yeah.
Uvaer, don't do it.
All the kobolds in Draconic. Jump, jump.
I wonder what they're saying.
Yeah.
So, Alward, you find Uvaer sitting by himself on those catwalks over the top of the forge.
You know, Uvaer, you put everyone in a little bit of a hard spot. That was also a really bad apology. And while I don't regret making a promise to aid you, because I do want to be there for you and I want to help, I wish I would have known that you planned on leaving in basically what could be tantamount to suicide before making that promise.
I didn't know that it puts you all in such a bind.
How could it not?
I thought...
No, I need you to think about that. You are one of our trusted companions who basically said, I'm going on a solo mission into a forest with 2 armies and a bunch of fae, and you guys can come or you can't. I don't care either way. And you literally just had a fight with them. Like, how can... Do you not think, Uvaer?
I do, Alward. I think a lot. You call me a trusted part of your party. But and not through anything of what you all have done. But I've never truly felt like part of the party. In fact, I felt like I've been the anchor to the party. All of you, each of you, have the things you are searching for and striving towards or running from. And me, I'm stuck in the past.
You don't have to be. You choose actively to be.
I understand why you would think that, Alward, but it doesn't feel like a choice to me. And as far as putting the party in a bind, as you said, I'll acknowledge perhaps the timing could have been better, but the urgentness that I feel maybe influenced me a bit. I'm not trying to force you to choose one way or another. In fact, it's not that I don't care if you choose me or do not. I want you all to make your own choice and not be hindered by me. I don't want to be the thing that holds all of you back.
Holds us back? Uvaer, let me remind you something.
I don't want to be the
Two-
cause.
Like 2 weeks ago, if it was not for you, we would have most likely died in that mansion. You did the final blow. You were the one who was able to do most of anything in that encounter. We would have died. Not to mention, I'm the only person able to help you transcribe whatever's going on your body. And if you leave and you die in that forest, then there's nothing. You're done. You know we're going to the forest. It doesn't have to be tomorrow, and it doesn't have to be an immediate choice. We can talk about it as a party and decide where to go.
I don't think I'm a part of the party anymore, Howard.
People fight. I fight with my family, with It happens. Time, you apologize, and you move on. I can't believe I have to teach a 300-year-old dwarf that. You said some things. You hurt some feelings. That can be forgiven.
Howard,
Just stop making it so hard, you old fool.
I don't want to leave.
Then
Howard.
We can go to the forest in like a month or 2 weeks. Or tomorrow, if that's what everyone wants to do. But give us time. Don't force us into a snap decision like that. It's not fair to me, to anyone, especially to yourself.
You're right, Howard. I shouldn't force you into a snap decision. Any of you. But I need time to think, Howard. I need time to think.
That's fine. We all need time to think. But you leaving isn't going to... Look, I know you must feel like... I don't know what you feel like.
And that is
I know
the issue.
If I was in a similar situation, I would want to just not exist in that situation anymore. But running from it or running toward something you think might have an answer without thinking about it or without consulting people who care about you isn't the correct choice. Trust me, it isn't. Don't leave. Let everyone cool down. We can discuss where we're going tomorrow, and if that's the Grungir Forest, amazing. If it's not, we can go there next, or immediately after. You don't have to go immediate. I don't even know why you want to.
You've asked me to look at everyone else's perspective. But you haven't tried to understand mine.
And he just gets up and walks away.
Trust me. I have.
So we get the old over-the-shoulder shot of Uvaer as he walks away, and we see Alward behind him saying, I have looked at it your way. We crossfade, and we're looking at the sunset, which is streaming over the tops of the peaks, because we're on the western wall of this valley. So the sun is now setting behind the mountains behind us as we're looking out over the valley, as the shadow of the earth is encroaching over the trees below, and Val is still sitting at the cliffside, just seemingly lost in thought.
She's looks over to Sigrun, who's kind of just sitting by, and she gets up and starts walking inside. She looks at Cornelius like she's gonna go talk to him, like she always does. And she starts to kind of think about everything we've talked about today. And she's gonna wait till he kind of is maybe doing something else for a second. And she slips by and takes something from his bag and goes off to look to see if she can find Neros.
So last we saw Neros, she was heading off by herself away from the Troll Forge.
Yeah, she hasn't come back yet. She's still in the forest.
Okay, she'll go out and see if she can't find direction you went and such.
You don't have to go too far. She's like kind of down the hill a little bit in like a little grove. And she's sitting on the ground, crisscross applesauce. Eyes are closed. It's pretty obvious she's meditating.
Val's gonna see that. She kind of waits for a bit. And then she's like, Neros, are you okay?
She doesn't answer for a while. You don't even know if she heard you. But after a bit, Neros opens her eyes and just kind of turns her head in Val's direction. It's like, what?
It's getting late, and I thought maybe we could spend some time not talking about all this stuff and just be friends for the evening. I brought some alcohol. I think you said you were running low. I took some from Cornelius.
That would be... Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm sorry if I interrupted you there.
Nero's looks around like, oh, it's okay. It's been a while. No, you're fine.
She kind of comes over and sits down next to you.
So, what exactly does Cornelius carry as far as alcohol goes?
I don't know. Just, this stuff. She just holds up a bottle that he goes into sometimes, but, he often just prefers to let Val buy a drink for him and bring it outside to him, because he doesn't go into bars.
Cornelius doesn't?
No, because he's a little monster boy.
That's fair.
I relinquish it to your master knowledge of this stuff, my friend.
I open the bottle.
It's very strong. It's reminiscent of some kind of like an absinthe or something. But you're not sure exactly what it is.
Was this a good idea? It's not
If we're going to drink this, I think it would be safer inside.
Oh, sure, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Or at least closer to the doors.
Okay. It's certainly not filling me with confidence, but I trust you. I'll just head back there then.
Yeah.
Just make sure, maybe go into the chest room or something so Cornelius doesn't see us.
That's fine.
So the two ladies of the party make their way to the chest room to hide from Cornelius while they drink his liquor.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
It's like two rebellious teenagers.
We'll go into the chests.
Just sit down in the chest.
So it's pretty dark in there, but you both have dark vision. So there's no difficulty in finding your way around.
Just start drinking.
Yep. We just have a nice night together. Drinking and talking. Inside of chests.
Neris probably tells you a few stories of stuff she's gotten up to.
Tell her the one about the horse and the flying note.
That one didn't go very well.
It's still a good story.
She'll share some bardic tales of Phrasmin related stuff and some Shellen stuff. And some spooky stories later at night.
And aside from the two of you getting drunk in the chest room, I imagine the remainder of the group probably gets their tents set and spends the night like civilized folk.
Okay, just because we're drunk doesn't mean we're not civilized.
You're
It's
in
the chests.
I have a blanket. I brought 2 blankets.
They're
Okay,
like
then you're
tiny
civilized.
coffins.
Oh, good.
And pillows.
The blankets and the pillows turn the chests into really strangely shaped beds, so I'm okay with this.
Do they
It'll be
have to
great for our
like
backs.
break down some of the chest walls and then connect them?
I was about to say, that's a very large chest to fit Val.
She's curled up.
It's a troll forge.
It's got a
I
point.
guess they're a large
They're
chest.
troll chests.
Troll chest.
They're trests.
Chests.
Portmanteau.
Morning breaks. The sun begins cresting over the opposing side of the valley, and the first shafts of daylight begin streaming in, both through the still open doors of the troll forge and in through the perforations around the domed ceiling of the forge proper. And the light begins to fall on an arm-shaped object that Pilgrim is turning over and over in his hands and nodding at approvingly.
Val climbs out of the chest.
You've got a pretty bad headache.
Mm-hmm.
Nero's not quite as bad.
Val was like laying in between the chests by the end of it.
Zephyr sleeps with his eyes open. You now know that.
It's true.
As the four of you are gathered in the entryway, Pilgrim comes out of the troll forge, and he's holding Val's previous prosthetic arm, with down the hairline crack is a thread of gold. And he hands it to Val and says, "I've repaired your arm. It should work just fine while I work on finishing a proper replacement."
Thank you. That's very, very kind of you.
He kind of looks around a little bit, and then with his other hand, he holds out a scrap of parchment. "Uvaer wanted you all to have this."
I wrote this on my board like an hour ago.
Yeah. We all knew.
Uvaer leaves it secret.
Guys, come outside.
Which one of you two is taking the letter?
Not me.
He's just holding it out.
Oh. She takes it, looks at it groggily for a second. Howard, you should read this. I'm having trouble this morning. That was a lot harder than the last time I drank things.
You two drank?
Yeah, quite a bit.
I don't blame you.
Invite me.
We needed some girl time.
I've not had a good night.
I'm
not
sorry,
my fault.
Zephyr. Next time, if we're still around you, we'll
Okay,
invite you to.
Val, just shh.
Would-
It's okay.
Because I'm assuming Uvaer wrote this.
Yep.
Would he have imparted a very strong particular emotion?
Oh.
No.
Okay.
On this
screw you.
one.
I just wanted to know
Wow.
because Alward is touching it with his
I
hands.
get you. Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm going to say on this one, no.
Okay. That's
Wow.
fine. Then we'll just ignore it.
Yeah, well, you'll
Heartless.
Monster.
open the daggum note.
I have been very slowly. You folded it up many times.
It took him over a minute. That's
I
why he had to
only
ask.
tied it.
You're a master of origami. Don't you lie to me.
Pilgrim used top gold and like twist to tie it. Now you have to
Open the
move.
note.
Now you have to move
It's
pure
so many
gold.
folds. What does the note say?
My apologies. I'll be back. I had to go take a walk.
I knew it was
No.
a fake out.
Alward, after reading it, breathes a sigh and just,
And if you guys will note, his stuff is still there.
I thought he ran away.
Pilgrim sighs. I thought so too.
He could have just left the note attached to his tent and avoided all the drama.
I mean, he really could have.
Pilgrim was awake, and his tent was right there with all his stuff there.
Pilgrim, you really are an amazing smith. I know.
By the
I've
way, that was
said
supposed to be a verbal note, not a written note, but I went with it.
Oh, I see that intimation in the message you sent now.
Yeah.
Pilgrim just
I
thought
like
you
the
wanted
note
him to
first.
write it.
Pilgrim wrote it out.
It said like it's like one big I and then it's two small L's because he got the sizing wrong and couldn't fit it all. All right. So he's just on a walk.
Yeah, he's just on a walk.
Then let's just have some breakfast and wait. Friday.
At about 10:30.
I feel like we all gathered around at about. They drank so
A
much.
lot.
Yeah.
Man.
At about 10:30, if anybody's watching, you'll see Uvaer coming up the steps towards the main door, if anybody's watching.
We're eating breakfast.
And he sees you all eating breakfast. And instead of interrupting you, he's actually just going to go and start packing up his tent a little bit and
Before
stuff.
you can get to your tent,
mm-hmm.
a cup of coffee and a plate of breakfast is floating over to you and just bumping into your leg repeatedly.
At that, it's just like he got interrupted and he just looks down and you just see him smile a little bit and he just grabs it, nods to you, but continues to...
Oh, I wasn't looking. I just told
Oh.
my unseen servant to
Yeah.
give it to you when you
Well, then he
arrived.
glances up and just looks at the party and then just continues to, while eating now and drinking the coffee, put his...
The coffee's a little cold.
You monster.
I thought you would be back sooner.
That's okay.
Just throw some ice in there and call it good. Iced coffee.
He just continues to pack up his stuff, just tidying it up really. You can't see one way or another if he's packing it, because this is just normally what he does whenever he gets up in the morning. And he just does that. He finishes his food. He waits for all of you to finish your food. And when his tent's packed up and his bags are packed, he just lays them, he just keeps them where they are. Then turn towards you all.
So, how was the walk?
A good walk in the morning is nice to clear the head. And the weather is nice outside.
Everyone is expectingly looking at Uvaer.
I know. Uvaer sits down on a rock or a chair or something. It seems that I've put you all in a bit of a bind.
Yeah.
That wasn't my intention. I don't want you to feel like you have to choose between me or anything of
your decisions. And I honestly didn't realize that it would cause that. I thought I was just dead weight. I don't know what to say to make things right. It seems that every time I try, I make things worse. I have my own feelings and my own thoughts, and I don't want to project them onto any of you. I spoke of my need to go to the forest and speak with someone I thought might help. And I didn't realize that me making that decision would seem like it's forcing any of you to make the same. That is not what I wish. I still feel this need to go, and I don't think that will ever go away. I don't expect any of you to understand. How can you? I know I sound like an old fool, stubborn, hard-headed. I am just lost, learning, as all of you. And it is odd that while everyone is going to the future or dealing with a past, I am trying to find a past. And that makes it difficult for me to understand any of you. I don't know what to do. I don't want to force you to do anything, but I don't want to continue as I am. I don't want to abandon the quest, and I don't plan on it. But I feel that the longer I continue on, the further I am from learning who I was. And I am afraid that if I give up, I will lose it all. That is why I decided to go. But it wasn't a wish to just leave you. That is all I have to say. I didn't sleep last night trying to figure out the right words. Perhaps you can forgive me earlier for not taking the time to think.
Well, sounds like you're just like any of us, just a little different. I think maybe we can all help each other learn. We're all the same here. We're a team. We can be a group. And like Zephyr's been saying, sounds like this is a lot like a family. That means we just need to trust each other and be there for each other. Everything you're struggling with, we're struggling with too. We'll figure it out eventually.
We will go to the forest. We have to eventually, so you're not going to lose that opportunity. It just might be a little bit more time than you anticipated. But we can't just let you go on your own either.
Uvaer, you're a part of us now. You're not getting away from us that easy. We learn together. We remember together. We grow together.
Stop looking at me like I know what I'm going to say. I have nothing in my brain.
That's okay.
And Neros loves you too.
Okay,
That may not be in character.
I wouldn't go that far.
Val sees Neros maybe trying to think of what to say or any process everything. Just remember, we might not always agree, and we might fight and argue, but as long as we come back together, we can keep going forward, like you did today. And we're here to help you learn stuff, just like we're here to help each other with all of our issues, like the boogeyman and my father and all that. But I'm sorry I got so worked up about things too.
And I'm sorry I reminded you of your father. Val, I don't know much about what happened to you. I know that you are a valiant warrior. That you want to see the good in people and everything. That you want to do good. I call you young, and please don't take too much offense to that. Everyone is young to me, but you are wise in your own right. The experiences you've had and the things you've had to survive to get where you are. Any lesser person would have folded. And should I meet your father in the future, I don't think I would tell him anything of you.
Thank you. That means a lot. I might be wise sometimes, but I can be pretty stupid sometimes too. Why don't you come join us over here? I can tell you a bit about myself like I've told the others.
I would like that, Val. I would.
Neris is going to stand up, get in her satchel, pull out one of her last bottles of ale, walks over to you, opens it. She takes a drink and hands it to you.
He looks at you. He grabs it, nods, and takes a drink as well.
Truce.
Truth, my friend.
Good. I take it back. Put the top on it, shove it in my satchel. Now get over here.
As Uvaer walks closer to rejoin the group and get to know Val a little bit better, Val reaches out, having put on that prosthetic arm that Pilgrim had repaired for her. She reaches out to shake Uvaer's hand. Uvaer takes her hand, and as they shake, the camera just kind of zooms in on their two clasped hands, and we see that thread of gold repairing the crack in Val's arm. And that's where we'll end this episode. And because I liked how all of this played out, which was not at all how I was expecting this full 3 episodes of recording to go, that's a hero point for everybody, because that was awesome.
Well,
I
I'm
have
full.
I have 3 as well.
I have 3.
I don't.
I don't either.
I
So that's
used
a hero
one.
point for Alward and for Uvaer.
I mean, we could up it to 4.
No.
No.
Don't break the economy.
You didn't give us any opportunities to use them.
I used one on purpose. So
He did use one.
All right, so I went to go ahead and hand out a hero card to everyone, but Jenkins and Sven were the only ones who had a hero point card spaces left. So Jenkins and Sven got hero point cards for this last epic of 3 episodes.
honestly, if it wasn't for we had a dedicated cap, I would have given everyone a hero point.
Agreed. We
100%.
we all deserved this.
Indeed. I don't know how to wrap this up.
What do you want to go do, Sven? Me and you.
You and me?
Yeah, you want to go bowling?
Let's go bowling.
All right, we're going to go bowling. See you
We'll
guys.
go bowling.
Oh,
Bye.
man.
And we'll see you all in the next episode. This has been an Atomic Broadcasting production. Pathfinder, Galarian, and the Lost Omens world setting are copyright of Paizo. More information at paizo.com. Music in the show is from Monument Studios' collection, as well as assorted artists, with some original tracks composed by Jordy Hake. More details in the description. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to share with a friend, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time.
I wanted to be alone in the forge room.
That's my room.
You've taken
Get out.
Yeah, that's
You-
Uvaer's
I need
room.
my forge room. You can't just take my private room.
I was going with him in there.
You
He
could
was
go to
coming
the
with
icy
us.
room.
Golly gee, that's rude.